Chick-fil-A is a national phenomenon. The Cathy family has grown their business significantly over the years. Last year, even during the pandemic, over $4 billion in sales. What are the keys to their success? Well, Truett Cathy says there are 3 C's that they use to implement in every organization, every franchise they've got that produces those winning results. What are those 3 things? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to the Report Advantage Podcast. I am Alex Swire-Clark, human behavior expert, author, and award-winning speaker. Understand yourself and others to unlock your potential. Hey, everybody. Alex Swire-Clark, emotional intelligence expert, author, and award-winning speaker here again on the channel. So glad to have you guys here. We're fired up and ready to go today. Of course, please like and subscribe the channel. We appreciate all the feedback that we're getting about growing the channel. Over 100 videos, all about emotional intelligence and leadership and how to best use those things in your personal and professional life. And in today's episode, we're talking about Chick-fil-A. And PBS did an interview with Truett, the founder, and his son, Dan, now the president of the company, in terms of what makes them so successful. Why do people keep coming back for these chicken sandwiches that's just pickles, chicken, and a piece of bread? I mean, that's really all there is to it. Why do people keep coming back, and what makes those franchises so successful? So I want to read you a little article about that interview and what Truett Cathy said in that moment. So during a recorded PBS interview, Mr. Cathy was asked what he considered to be the keys to a successful business. As he began to answer the question, everyone was on the edge of their seats, ready to take in all of the information he had to have. Businessmen and women everywhere were jotting notes down feverishly. Without hesitating even for a moment, Mr. Cathy said that there were 3 qualities they looked for when interviewing a potential owner or operator for a franchise, or an employee for that matter. Those 3 qualities are the C words I mentioned a minute ago: character, competence, charisma. Character, competence, charisma. Also could be chemistry. We'll just use the word chemistry. Character, competence, chemistry. That was a little bit easier to remember. Character, competence, chemistry. Now, Mr. Cathy went on to explain that character is a person's ability to be honest and demonstrate integrity. I tell that to all our folks when they come on board. Without integrity, we've got nothing. We've got to be honest in everything we do. And I totally agree with Mr. Cathy on that one. A person with character will always do the right thing in any given situation. Doing the right thing even when no one else is looking. A person of competence, he said, is someone who has an ability to read a situation and act appropriately, making wise, practical decisions. In our company, we call that taking the next step. Our 4 core values are integrity, clients first, teamwork, and taking the next step. And so when we have employees who work with us, they've got to be able to take the next step. And that's where that competence comes in. What's the situation? What do I do? What's the next step we can take to make sure that we get a winning outcome? And the third thing he said was chemistry. And Mr. Cathy explained that a person's personality needs to fit well with others in the corporation. People need to be able to get along with each other, being thoughtful and kind rather than selfish and self-centered. Mr. Cathy said that anyone who demonstrates character, competence, and chemistry will do well in any endeavor. And I tend to agree with that on most fronts. There's lots of things that go through in terms of what makes a great franchisee, or what makes a great CEO, or what makes a great VP of HR. But the main things, I agree with him totally. With that competence factor, with the chemistry factor, all those things matter. And we can teach skills. I say that all the time in my organization. I can teach someone how to build a claim, a medical claim, but I can't teach you to have integrity. That character part is so valuable. You either have that or you don't. Either build that character over time or you lose it. And so the competence standpoint, that's when we use our personality assessments for our hiring process to make sure that people are going to be easily moving forward through a natural progression of a process, because medical billing is a very process-driven entity. And then from a chemistry standpoint, we always use our DISC assessments to hire people to figure out where they're going to fit on the team, where they're going to be gaining energy from a role versus losing energy from a role. Because as you know, if you've heard me talk about this a million times on the channel and on the podcast, is that people are naturally wired to either gain energy from completing tasks or being around others. Generally, it's not going to be both. I mean, sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not, depending on the intensity of your traits. But up to 95% of all conflict comes from this task versus people division. And so when we're looking for good team members, we have to let the leadership team know, hey, this person is going to be on your team. Here are the personality dynamics of your current team. When we place this person into your environment, here's what we can expect. They're either going to stress out, under tension when it's a deadline, or they're going to want to have some social time during the day, or they're going to be very driven and self-motivated, or they're going to be very extrinsically motivated, depending on your words and your positive words of affirmation to drive them forward. And so we get into this situation all the time with companies that I speak to in terms of, hey, Alex, we're not communicating very effectively. What can we do about that? Well, first thing you have to do is you have to have a methodology and a baseline for communicating. And so once we have that, then we can use the tools to more effectively address those things when conflict arises. So for example, if I said somebody was coming into my office and I'm in HR, I said, Bob's on me all the time. He's just so demanding and I just can't figure it out. And I said, well, are you getting your stuff done? I'm getting my stuff done on the timelines that were set up in my job description, but Bob's wanting them done even faster and faster and faster. So we can quickly get down to the bottom of that situation if we have some personality assessments in front of us. And so Bob, most likely a high D, and then let's call it Brian, most likely a high S or maybe even a C. So we can have conversations based upon their personality styles, because now we start going into what are their priorities. A D's priorities is to get things done and get things done very quickly, very efficiently, straight to the point, no fluff, all about getting those tasks done. But if I'm an S on the other side, I'm all about the people. So I want to be welcomed. I want to be part of a family. I'm going to get my stuff done and I'm going to stay extremely loyal to you, but it's going to be on the timeline that was set and based upon the consistency factor, because S's don't like change and they don't like conflict. So they're going to kind of turtle up when in the face of Bob coming into his office and going, come on. And Brian's going to be like, no, I can't do that, man. You got to give me some time. So from that perspective, we want to make sure that we know as leaders, first of all, who's our on our teams, and then secondly, how is that leader using the tool effectively to lead people? Because it's great if we just know, okay, you're a C and I'm an I and whatever else, and we just kind of go about our business. But if we're not using the tools to understand people's priorities and their communication styles and how they react under pressure, then we're missing the power behind the tool. So, of course, on my website, I sell assessments like that. You can go to www.alexswire-clark.com and find those. We'll be happy to give you that information. So questions that come up when I pop up on the road are, Alex, how do we use this tool? And, we talk about the pre-hiring process. We talk about the post-hiring process. But it all comes back down to some of the things that Mr. Cathy talked about with that competence, that character, and that chemistry. Because the chemistry is kind of where I live, getting people to work and understand each other better. Because if they can work with each other better, they can understand each other better, communicate more effectively, then tension goes down, productivity goes up, right? I do a simple activity in some of my workshops where we see these patterns in human behavior and how when you remove all of the frustration from the communication side of things, we become much, much more productive as an organization. So again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like any and all videos that you see here. Again, our goal is to always help you better your personal and professional life using this emotional intelligence to help you grow your self-awareness and broaden that out into social awareness. And then you can start learning how to adapt your behavior to meet others where they are. Again, like and subscribe. Also, be aware, we've got our couples webinar series coming out in the latter part of October and early November. Be on the lookout for that. We'll have some keys to that in the descriptions for future videos and podcasts. But yes, so if you are in a relationship right now with a partner and you're just starting out and you want to make that relationship fantastic, or maybe you're kind of on the struggle bus a little bit, I wanted to get some better communication going on, or you're trying to prevent the house from burning down and you're in lifeline mode. Hey, help me. I can't communicate with my partner like I used to. We're going to have a couples course for you that's going to be fantastic to give you some nuggets on how to improve your relationship, both from the communication side and from understanding your partner's behavior much better. That'll be coming up in November. Super excited to be introducing you to that, because I'll be on some live calls and taking your questions as we do that. So thanks so much for watching and listening if you're on the podcast, and we'll see you next time. Take care for now.